other disciple went into the tomb, saw and believed. The other disciple talked about in this gospel is John himself, John the writer of this very text. He saw and believed. We are invited today to participate in the activities of giving witness to what we have seen and what we have believed in. We have been schooled by Jesus. We have been to the school of Jesus. We have sat at the feet of Jesus as his disciples. We have been given the tools that we need for us to go out and proclaim what we have seen and what we have believed. For us to be disciples of Jesus, it is taken that we have believed what we have seen. Otherwise, we can't call ourselves Christians, can't call ourselves believers. It is because we have seen something, Jesus has shown us something, and we have believed, and therefore, he has given us the tools to go out and be witnesses of that in which we have believed. We are ambassadors of Christ in our world today. We are the Johns of today who are going to write about what we have seen. We are going to preach about what we have believed in. We are the face of Christ wherever we are. And that should be very cardinal about our discipleship. That we can't just be disciples by name. We can't just enjoy the privilege or the prestige of belonging to a church or belonging to a Christian community. There has to be something more that we need to do. And that which we need to do is to be the face of Jesus, at whose feet we have sat and from whom we have learned a lot of things. To be his face wherever we are. That is what it means to be a true disciple. John the Evangelist, whose feast we celebrate today, first of all allowed himself to be educated by Christ, to be schooled by Jesus. And then secondly, what did he do? He put into writing the things that he learned. But not only that, as an elder of a Christian community, he always preached that which he believed in until he was killed for it. And this is our role also as disciples in today's society. Because we're living in a society where humanity is glorifying more and more things that have nothing to do with God. There are a lot of ideologies that are coming into our lives which seem to be making sense. And since we are embracing them as the norm, they are also pushing away the idea of believing in God. They are pushing away God from the center of our lives. Because these things now seem to be making more sense. They seem to be giving humanity immediate solutions to the problems that we are going through. But they just seem to be the norm. They just seem to be the gospel. They just seem to be the good thing. They cannot replace the gospel. They are not a replacement of that which we have believed in ourselves. And so it is our duty as Christians to rise to the occasion and challenge that which is pushing away the true gospel. It is our duty to preach that which John himself preached. Somebody was asking me the other day, why do we celebrate the feast of John the Evangelist right after Christmas? The other disciples of Jesus are scattered everywhere in the year, but right after Christmas we celebrate John the Baptist. There is a reason why the church decided to put this feast right after Christmas. Because John is one of those disciples, if not the only disciple, that properly talks about the incarnation. God coming down to be incarnated in the human form. Remember how the Gospel of John begins. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, and continues and continues. The Word became flesh and dwelt among us. In John chapter 1, if you read the whole especially the first verses of John chapter 1, from verse 1 to up to around 4, you're going to read about the incarnation itself. And that is what Christmas is about. So he is a disciple that labors to talk about God coming to be like a human being. Of course, the other disciples or evangelists also talk about the birth of Jesus. We're not taking anything away from them. But when you analyze what John writes in his first chapter, then we realize that he's the one that gives us the incarnation proper. The Word became flesh and dwelt among us. Today, you and I are the John the Evangelist, that through which Jesus still wants to preach the message. And therefore, it is our duty to be open to this activity, to this duty, to this responsibility, to talk about Jesus wherever we are. But there's something more that we need to do. Not just talking about Jesus, but doing what we are saying. Because talking is one thing, and doing what we are saying is yet another. But if we incorporate the two, we talk about Jesus, but we also do what we are preaching, then we become true disciples. John tried, with all his limitations, to talk about the incarnation, to talk about the Jesus that he witnessed, to talk about the Jesus that gave him the tools that he needed for him to preach. Tried and put all these things into writing. What are we doing ourselves within our own limitations, within our own capacities and roles that we've been given by the church? What are we doing in order to ensure that the message is preached everywhere? Remember, we are all John the Evangelist of today, and our duty is to give witness, concrete witness, to what we have seen, what we have witnessed, to what we have seen and touched, and what we have heard from Christ himself. That is what it means to be true disciples in our modern society. Amen.